today and sharing some functional knowledge. It's going to be good to have somebody that's out there working with this stuff. That's why we wanted him to jump on and kind of ask him some questions and guide everybody through Homesnap and how to use it, how he's using it, and how you can get the most value out of this kind of stuff. So thanks, Ricky, for joining us this morning.
Hey, my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Megan, you want to go ahead and share your screen?
Absolutely.
All right.
All right. Let's see.
So as everybody enters, you'll be auto muted, but if you have any questions, go ahead and put them in the chat and we'll make sure to address them.
All right. So yeah, we just wanted to talk about Homesnap some, and Ricky is ultimately the one who explained most of it to me and really helped me to have a better understanding of really just like what Homesnap is and how beneficial it is to agents, and why, you know, it has truly helped him in his business. So we always like to go over, you know, what the objectives are. And we just want to help you guys understand the value and the purpose behind Homesnap, and also develop a better understanding of how to use it and incorporate it into your, not only your marketing plan, but your day-to-day interactions throughout your business. So we are super excited to bring all of this information to you guys. You know, it's always good to clarify your goals and what you want to get out of these meetings and classes. So some things you can get from this and through Homesnap is scheduling showings easily through the app, utilize the Homesnap's multi-purpose uses just throughout the day-to-day stuff. There's also a Google business integration you might be interested in looking into, or even creating ads. So a question we often get is, what is Homesnap? And Ricky's definitely going to explain it a lot better than I am, but just a little overview. Homesnap is both a website and an app that you can use either or. I know Ricky uses the app a lot more than the website aspect of it, but it is both. So it really just helps in connecting clients and agents to just have the full functions of a Bright MLS, but mobily. So there's just so much in this app that you can do, and creates a fluid system for you while you are out, you know, on listings, or even just being able to share the most recent. I think someone's breaking something in. Just being able to share the most recent, you know, properties that are available with your clients. It truly is the most accurate in comparison to Zillow or Redfin or Trulia, all those different ones. All right, so I'm gonna hand this over to Ricky at this point, because he can explain all these different features of Homesnap a little bit better than me personally. I'll pass the baton.
Yeah, Ricky, if you could kind of go through a little bit this stuff, and then how you're using it kind of from start, and outline a little bit of your experience and stuff like that. That'd be awesome.
Sure, absolutely. So, you know, Megan, I think you did a good job describing it. Homesnap is essentially, in my opinion, the closest you can get to Bright MLS on your phone through an app. As we know, Bright MLS is not super mobile friendly. You can access it through your iPhone. You could bring a tablet with you if you wanted to, but Homesnap does a good job of pulling out the most important features of the MLS and providing it in a mobile format that's pretty easy to use. I mean, just like anything, you got to get in there, you got to click around, you have to learn it. But the way that I think of it when I'm in the field is that Homesnap is really giving me the best of the MLS in one place. So you want me to sort of run through these bullet points you have and just touch on each one?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Absolutely.
Cool. So first of all, look up and send listings. One of the things that I do, I'm sure we all have our buyer consultation process. I usually meet with my clients online. They filled out some paperwork prior to us meeting, and we go through a consultation. We figure out what they're going to be looking for and their process and their game plan. And at the end of that, I say, I'm going to send you my app. Right away, establishing that I'm bringing something valuable to the table. I have the information that they're looking for. Of course, having the listings and the MLS in general is something that's always created that value add as a realtor. We have the listings. So I say, I'm going to send you my app. I don't mind if you use Zillow or Redfin or Trulia, but Homesnap is going to be the closest to the MLS, and it's what we can count on to be accurate. You can also message me through that app. You can send me listings. We can communicate back and forth. And if you like it, then make it your primary home search tool. So looking up and sending listings is a really great way to use this app. If your clients are using it, if you've sent it to your clients through your contact list in the app, then everything that they look at is branded to you. So I have clients that call me and say, oh, wow, I didn't realize that you also did new construction, because I was looking at new construction and you're listed on it. Is that your listing? Say, yeah, Mr. Matsos is the one who constantly is asking that. I said, Mr. Matsos, no, it's not my listing, but I'd be more than happy to help you with that. So really easy way to send listings. You can send them to other agents. You can send them to your clients. And it's really easy to find the addresses, right? You're just typing it in just like any other home search tool. And as you look at a specific property, it's going to give you a really good idea of what's around that property. It's very, very similar to the map that you have in Bright, but it's shrunk down to a mobile version. So really easy way to look up and send listings. And of course, the information is accurate. So if you're using Zillow or Redfin or another app right now, there's oftentimes discrepancies on those third-party sites. One of the discrepancies that I noticed most recently is that if you have a property in coming soon, and that property has to leave coming soon to go temporarily off because you've run out of coming soon days. This has happened to me several times with some of the project houses that we're working on. When you then go live on Zillow or the third parties, it shows your days on market from the day you put it in coming soon until that moment. So I just had one in Colombia, and people are like, why does it show it's been on Zillow for 54 days? And I'm like, I don't even know. And I went back and figured it out. But that's just a small example. Homesnap is always going to be accurate. It's really going to be able to show you the listing history, the timelines, the right information associated with the property, and it makes it very easy to send back and forth. Moving on to seller net sheets. So we probably all have a title company that we enjoy working with. Bright also has a way that you can do seller net sheets. Lakeside Title Company has a great one on their website. I know R&P Settlement does also. But if you're on the go, and instead of just doing the math in your head and roughly calculating 7.5% or whatever you think the total expense is, you can pull up the actual property in Homesnap and you can do a seller net sheet on the fly. It will pull in the right transfer taxes, the right recording fees. Whoop, my Mac is about to lose battery. That would not be good. It's going to pull in the right information for that property, for the specific jurisdiction that it's in. And then you can make, on the fly when you're sitting at the table and you're going back and forth, trying to come to terms over a listing agreement, you have a very clear way to show folks what their estimated net is going to be. And that's right at the top. When you get to a property, you'll see it's one of like the first 4 options that you have. Confidential agent only remarks. This is a huge one. If you are using a third-party app, what you're missing when you're out in the field is the confidential comments, what is only available to agents. So I'm sure we've all been in a situation, you're showing property A and you didn't have any other showing scheduled, but your client says, hey, can we go see this other one? What do you know about it? Haven't been at my computer, haven't had time to research it. I can pull that listing up and very easily now observe the confidential agent only remarks. Right now, what's most important in those remarks, it's always either a COVID restriction or an offer deadline. Probably even more common now is the offer deadline. So understanding whether there are private comments, looking through those remarks, getting the most information possible at your fingertips and being able to share that in real time. Property disclosures, all the disclosures that are uploaded into Bright MLS are also available to you there. If you're using an iPhone, which I'm sure most people are at this point, they're very easy to open. I imagine it's the same thing on Android, but having all of that right there is important. I'm sure we all have clients who don't care and who, review those when you go to write an offer. And then we have others who like to review those up front before touring the house or while they're touring the house, or you have your own process. So it's nice to have the disclosures there. Even just as a reference point, if they have filled out the actual disclosure, you might have dates and replacement timelines in there. You might have information on key components of the property. And again, this is all helping paint the picture of you as the expert, you having the information. The more information you have to provide, the more valuable you are. If that, imagine a client going out to see a home with one of the internet companies who just sort of send somebody and they show up, versus you there prepared, really able to talk about this property intelligently and having all of those disclosures and all that other information at your fingertips. So the theme of having information is important. The next one is one of my personal favorites. And again, it's right in that same vein of having something that your client needs in order to add value. And that's augmented reality of property lines. So of course, same thing with the drawing that gets done at closing. Homesnap is not going to be exact. It's not like putting a stake in somebody's yard. But when you're out there at showings, I'm sure every person, at least once a week, you have the question, where do you think the property line ends? And instead of looking at where the lawn is cut or looking at where a fence is, it's nice to be able to pull up Homesnap, pull up the property that you're at very easily just by clicking the button that takes the GPS to the spot that you are, and then pulling up a look at the property lines. It will have the Google Maps version of it, so it will have sort of the I guess the graphically designed version of it, and then it will also have the satellite image, and you can toggle those back and forth at the top of the property lines feature. So I like that. I like being able to see pretty clearly where they have the property line. And then what you can do if you want to walk the property line, you can press the button on there that takes you to that feature, and you can actually walk to the spot, click I am here, and then as you hold up your phone, you'll be able to see the property lines in front of you. They call it augmented reality. So it's like appearing in 3D on your phone. Obviously, it's not there in real life, but you're able to get a very clear idea of where the property lines are. And that adds a lot of value, just having an idea of where they are and being able to really show people. I think we all have showings where it's like, all right, I know there's no chance that this is going to be the right property. We figure that out pretty quickly, but you can always get something positive out of it. Maybe citing the acreage and using that as sort of a basis point moving forward would be a way you could get value out of this in the property lines. Like, hey, just for reference, this is what a 1/4 acre property looks like. Or, hey, I know that space was really important to you. I think why you don't like this is because the lot sort of flags and, it's not really usable space. But again, just being able to have those conversations and provide value and really make something positive out of the information that you have. The next one is also one that I really like. They have the historical listing data available. So if you think about Bright MLS and you think about going up to the search feature, and most of the time when you're searching for a house for sale, you click in the left column on the first option, which says residential sale. Other times, maybe you're going to a listing appointment and you think, I want to understand what this seller has been through or when they bought this, what it looked like, how much has been done. So you go to search and then you go to address search, which allows you to type in the address and find all of the listings, whether they've sold, expired, active, whatever, related to that property. That's what the historical listing data does in Homesnap. If you pay for the pro version of it, you can see all of the historical listings right there when you pull up that property. So for instance, if it's listed today and you're walking through it, especially useful in rehabs or flips or properties that have been owned for a while, you can go ahead and look and say, okay, here's where they are today. Here's what it looked like a year ago, because they'll have the description, the costs, the timelines, the photos, all of that. And maybe there's 2 or 3 of them in there. So you can say, oh, wow, here's what it looked like in 2012. And then in 2015, it sold. And then in 2017, this happened. And here we are today. And again, having all that information available, it allows you to make good recommendations on terms or pricing. It gives you a good idea whether or not there's a red flag or something that you should be looking more critically for. And it paints, again, the picture as you of the expert with all of this important information available. And I'm sure most of your clients do this, right? Like they're on Zillow and all these other sites looking at historical listings anyway. And it never feels good to have somebody say, "Oh, did you know this about this property?" And you're sitting there as a professional thinking to yourself, "I did not know that," but you did as my client. That's sort of inexcusable. So having all that available, maybe you get to the showing 5 minutes early and you pull up the property and you could really run through everything that I'm talking about here within 90 seconds and have a lot more information and expertise on that property than you did. Schedule with showing time directly in the app. This is also a great one. This is one of the things that I sort of use to, you're out there. There's nothing more stressful than leaving an appointment and all of a sudden having 45 text messages and 7 missed calls and voicemails and your emails stacked up. Oftentimes you're out there on the road and you leave at 8 in the morning and you're not getting home till 8 at night and you're just constantly on the go. Maybe you brought your computer, maybe you didn't. But one of the things that I love about the showing time integration and also just Homesnap in general is it gives me a really quick and efficient way to clear the decks in between appointments. So I get back in the car and, I'm looking through all the texts from buyers who are like, "Hey, can you research this property? Can we schedule this property?" You have it all right in front of you. So you can very quickly go through and do that. The other benefit would be you're at the first property and they say, "Hey, can we add this property on?" It's a pain in the butt to have to call a showing time. I've never enjoyed doing that. You might not have time to get to your computer in that moment to schedule the next showing, but through Homesnap, you can quickly pull it up. You can see the full showing schedule. You can make a request. You get the showing instructions, etc., and it's all done right there through the actual property. We don't want to waste time, especially nowadays. It's such a fast-paced market. I've got clients that this happens frequently. I have clients saying, "Hey, we saw this other property on the way in. Can you schedule it?" And off the top of my head, I'm like, "Yeah, that sounds like a reasonable request." But I pull it up real quick on Homesnap and I'm like, dude, this doesn't really check your criteria. And here's why." And they're like, "Oh, okay." So I've saved myself that showing or that time. Otherwise, maybe it's like, "Hey, can you get to, we just saw this go on the market. As you know, nowadays, every showing is going to be filled up within 30, 40 minutes of it going live. If it's a hot property, you can not have to wait till you get home at the end of the night to schedule and take, the less attractive time on showing time. You can sit there in your car at the exact moment they request it, pull it up, and you can lock in a good time that fits with your schedule to make yourself more efficient. Running rapid CMA reports is also essential. I think in a perfect world, we could always stop and really look at numbers and dig deep into the properties that we're showing. My grandfather, who I also work with, has told stories about never showing a property without previewing it, literally taking time to drive by himself before showing his client and doing all this research. Obviously, that's not relatable in today's market where something hits and you have, the next day to get to it. There's maybe not a chance for you to drive by. Maybe you didn't have time to run a CMA. Maybe you're not even sure whether or not the pricing is good in that neighborhood, because we're also seeing crazy pricing all over the place. It's nice to be able to get to that property again 5 minutes early, pull it up. When you're on the property, you scroll down to the bottom. It shows you all the recent sales. Within 90 seconds to 2 minutes, you'll have a very clear idea of whether or not the home you're touring is priced well, what's sold recently. And again, just being able to say things like, "Hey, look, I know the high sale on this street is X. This house is priced at Y, and this one has a finished basement and that didn't. Here's what I'm thinking would be the right offer. I'm going to go home and run a CMA before we put it together for you," whatever. But it's really nice to be able to see it there in real time in front of you. Again, it's just like the MLS is at your fingertips and you can pull up all that data. Easily communicate with clients. I already talked about if you invite a client to the app through your app, everything will be branded with your face and name on it. And then you will also be able to message clients through the app. And it's like, some people love it. Some people just prefer to screenshot me their portal and text it to me. It doesn't really matter as long as you get the info. but it is a nice way to easily be able to communicate with clients and other agents. If you don't have somebody's number, you find their listing or you search for an agent, you can pull them up real quickly and have their information, email, phone number, brokerage right in front of you. Saves time again when you're out there on the road trying to move quick.
Hey, Ricky, really quick. So when you send this app, when people are using it to search, you're able to collect that information? You'll see kind of what they clicked, what they searched, and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, so it's not the greatest in that respect, but that is the idea. Yeah, you can see their searches. They can send you properties directly through the app if, hey, I have a question about this one. And I think the main thing again is just to be able to say, hey, here's my app, feel free to use it if you want, but you can use anything you're comfortable with. Because, I think it's a stretch to say that, I mean, Zillow has a great app, so does Redfin. They're really, really good apps. So Homesnap is not on that level yet. Homesnap is still more tailored towards the realtor. And I think in terms of the realtor experience, Homesnap is, there's nothing that compares to it currently. Still obviously room for improvement, but yeah, it's just nice to be able to give your clients something where they can easily get stuff over to you, and see you on every single listing instead of maybe on Zillow they're seeing the actual listing agent, and depending on the relationship you have with that client, maybe at some point they're thinking, I just want to work with the listing agent directly, so you
Right.
can sort of avoid that.
Okay. Yeah, Jackie asked a question about standard home snap and upgrade. All of this stuff is part of the standard product?
I believe so. Yeah. The pro product was like $600 a year, and then during COVID, and they might still have this, but they dropped it to $99 a year. I got it just out of curiosity. I was just sort of bored, and I had seen it advertised so much. I sometimes just like to investigate those things. So I'm not 100% sure at this point. I think the only thing on this list that may only be available in the pro version is seeing the full historical listing. But I could be wrong about that because they're adding and subtracting features just like they are with any other product. So they may have added that to standard, but I seem to remember that I used to try to see photos of historical listings and it wouldn't let me until I purchased the pro version of it.
Hmm. Okay.
Yeah. And I think it's important to remember too, if you're thinking about maybe offense versus defense, like business building versus maintaining, this is all on the defense side. Like this is all when you already have the business. There is a whole nother side to Homesnap now with the pro version, with the Google business locations and all of that. But
We'll get
yeah,
to that. Yeah.
yeah, I'm figure we get to that.
And then the stats on the agents, that's an interesting one. So how do you use that kind of information?
Yeah, so you can see everybody's stats, volume, where they're from, what brokerage they're part of. If they have the pro version, you can see how many Google reviews they have. I think it's important to treat everybody fairly. In this day and age, though, it's bizarre. You put on a listing and all of a sudden you have 10 offers in a couple days, and you might not know some of these people. So, if you have sellers that ask those questions, I know mine certainly do. What do you know about this person? Are they reliable, et cetera? It puts a lot of information in one place right away, very easy to see. So the most helpful is being able to contact folks through this because sometimes you're out there and you're running late, or you have a question, even if you just want to follow up. It's nice to have their contact information there. You can call real easily or text them real easily through the app, and how many offers do you have or what your deadline is, that type of thing. So it's definitely a lot of good information in one place.
I dig it. Next up.
All right. So this is kind of a little overview of why, as agents, you would want to use Homesnap. Ricky did a great job explaining all of that and all the different benefits of it. But Homesnap is really just a great tool for listing appointments or also keeping buyers current on the most recent listings available. Like he said, it's the closest thing out there to sending your clients listings from Bright. So it has a lot of benefit with that and having the correct information. Homesnap also positions you as the expert when you have all these things right on your phone and easily available. And then I'm also going to have Ricky talk a little bit about how you can increase your exposure as an agent with the pro version of Homesnap and the Google business account that they can take over for you. So if you want to touch on that a little bit, I know you said that you've really been focusing on your Google business account and getting reviews, but also how Homesnap has taken over like posting for you and your listings and all of that.
Sure, sure. So I think probably a lot of you remember a couple months ago, maybe it was like February, Zillow took down all of our recent sales and a lot of the reviews that we had up there. And in the world of search engine optimization or search results, like when someone types your name in, what comes up, Zillow is pretty high up there. I will say that Remax absolutely on fire, keeping you at the top. Remax is really, really relevant. I don't know how they did that actually. But anyway, my thought in that moment, it was sort of like a panicked feeling because in my business model, I work with a lot of referrals, but those referrals also understand that I'm younger and sort of newer to the industry in general. And I feel as though it's been imperative for me to have online reviews and proof of success via social media and these other websites. And so I went through a serious panicked phase. Like Zillow had stripped away all this hard work that I had done because I was sort of making Zillow my go-to, because that's oftentimes where people would be messaging me, um, or they'd be finding me and sort of verifying what I was up to and all of that. It's really important, whether you believe it or not. Your clients, even the ones are looking you up online today to see reviews and to get proof of success. And so in that moment, recognizing that I had so little control over Zillow or some of these other third parties that people use, I repositioned my focus and I guess I sort of got Google My Business going more heavily than I ever had before, because I thought to myself, well, Google's not going to charge us to use these profiles. Google is the most powerful. They're everywhere. It's the one that really comes up right away when somebody searches your name. And it's something that I can control. I can be the one to sort of manage this, and I don't have to worry about Zillow now becoming a competitor and possibly eliminating agent profiles entirely. I wouldn't be surprised if that happened, or you had to pay to be on there, because they're a brokerage now. And you have to be careful. They now have the rights of a brokerage, so we can't even really say too much negative about them. But anyway, the Google My Business location, it's the same thing. Like if you're going to a restaurant or you're trying to find something nearby, we all type what we're looking for into Google. It comes up. It has your address, it has your reviews, it gives you a spot for photos and a place to talk about your business and your services and your hours and all that stuff. I'm sure there's not a person on here who hasn't seen this for at least another type of business out there. But what Homesnap does, when you pay for the pro version, they take over the management of your Google business location. And what they start to do is they start to make posts on your behalf. So they start to post all of your listings. You don't have to edit it. I don't even know who looks at Google posts, but they post them, they throw them out there. They also throw little things out there like, the first step to buying is getting pre-approved. Click here to see how. They create little things for you. And it's sort of funny because the exact type of thing that I would recommend you don't do on your social media, the same type of thing that you should not do on Facebook or Instagram, is what you do want to do on Google. Just get these little automated posts out there at the bottom. Again, I don't know who sees it, but the benefit, what happens is people start to click on it. It starts to become more relevant, and then your Google business location increases in relevancy. So like based on reviews, how many people click it, etc. I think when we were looking at this the other day, it was like I had like 17,000 views in a month. And recently on Rockburn Drive and on 17 West End Court, those are two listings that I picked up just off of Google. Like I didn't know the people at all. They literally just searched for a realtor and then called me from here. So I think that's pretty cool. I mean, that's for $100 a year to have something like that out there for yourself, I think that's really important. And if you think about newer generations of home buyers and sellers, they sort of grew up with this. This is in their DNA to make sure that whoever they're working with is relevant online. So one of the things that I've done in addition to that is I've uploaded plenty of photos from listings that I've had recently. I've put them on there. I have 48 Google reviews right now. My goal by the end of the next month is to have 100, because in my mind, once you have three figures, like once you have 100+ reviews, that's when I think a consumer really, without questioning it, just starts to take you serious and trust you immediately. So I'm going back through, I'm asking for all my clients to leave these reviews. Of course, it was sort of painful because I had just gotten like 20 on Zillow and a bunch on Facebook, and then you have to go back and ask them to transition. But I was super transparent, like, hey, I'm paying for this new product called Homesnap. I'm going to really boost my Google business location. I don't have control of Zillow anymore. Would you mind taking your review and moving it over for me? It's really important to my business. So,
And that's pretty
if
easy,
that's,
right? With the link that you can just kind of populate from your Google business and you send it.
absolutely, yeah. Google Business, I mean, just like anything that Google does, it's really solid. And Homesnap sort of adding to that and just getting more views and clicks on it, that's fantastic. So, I think this looks good. I try to put myself in the consumer's shoes, and I think to myself, like, if I Googled somebody that I was hoping to work for and I found this many results with them online, what would it make me think? And for those of us who are busy enough where it's like, you don't want to be working on this, some people enjoy it. I feel like at one point I did. And then all of a sudden I'm like, I can't stand having to go out there and keep all these profiles up. It was well worth it to invest $100 for the year for Homesnap to do that for me. And I've seen instant results from it. So I think that's important to mention as well.
Two quick comments really quick. Mark Hall mentioned Remax imports. I think you have to put your Zillow reviews in directly, or do they pull as well? Is that the they didn't?
Yeah, they do pull if you link your Zillow account, but you can also put your reviews in if you decided to not use Zillow. You can definitely manually put in your Google reviews on your website.
I
And
remember doing that a while ago on the Boosh sites, and
yeah.
I don't know what Remax does to keep them so relevant, but they return really high in the search results. Um, I have a client in Pasadena who lives in Chicago. I've never met her, and that's how she found me, just through the Boosh site. And she's like reading my bio to me, and I asked her, I said, just out of curiosity, which website are you reading? And she said, oh, this remax.com, whatever. I'm like, okay, it's good to know that. Um,
Yeah,
just as
so they're
I
paying
never hurts
to
to
have,
ask where people are finding you. That's a good thing.
Right.
yeah, they're paying to have you if your website through Booge is published and live. Remax is paying for that #1 spot in Google when your name is searched with Remax next to it. And so you're going to come up first with your agent profile through their website, and then your next one is usually your own website.
Yeah,
so you're actually the first two searches, which is
right. Great point, because I know there's a few people, we've helped a lot of folks on here set up their Boosh page, and it's been a good, I think that's been a good move. I know it took a minute for Remax to roll out some of the details for it, but I think it's a perfect site for agents at this point to be using. And then really the big point is the fact that it shows up so well in search results. One more comment. Len Hart actually said that he had paid, he has the pro version, and he is at the end of a 6-month commitment to the concierge package. Didn't find a ton of value in that, is not renewing that. That was somewhat more expensive. But did you get in on the COVID pricing for the pro version, Len? Yeah, I will have to check that out, because that sounds like a crazy good deal, 1/6 of the price or something like that. So
yeah, definitely. All right, so and then here is just what the app itself looks like and how you can get the app, download it to your phone. You can also check it out through just going to homesnap.com. Another little fact about Homesnap is in your Mac Center portal through Megaphone. If you're running any social media ads or anytime you put a listing in, you're automatically getting a free week of social media advertising just for having a new listing. So basically, how it works is you put your new listing into MLS, it pushes through to your website, which then pushes through to Megaphone. Megaphone then creates the ad for you for 1 week for free. So you're getting free advertising, and then it's pushing it through actually to Homesnap. So Megaphone doesn't actually run the ads themselves. That is through Homesnap. So Megaphone, you can run ads on social media, but it always is going to push you through to Homesnap to finish out the process. So most of you already are using Homesnap, you just don't know it yet. So like I said, anytime you put a listing in, you're getting a free week of advertising through them already. You might see it come back as Megaphone or Homesnap leads coming through, or people are clicking on and requesting more information that way if you have listings. So it's got lots of different channels and things that you can work with on both ends of either way you use it, with the app or the website. It's extremely beneficial.
On that note, really quick, with Megaphone, because I know that things have changed a lot. We have people that have been with Remax for a minute, so they remember kind of all the different evolutions and Mac Center coming out and Design Center and all that. How has that changed, and how is Megaphone kind of taking over some of that stuff?
Yeah, absolutely. So it was, and I can't speak to prior to me being here, but when I first came on, it was more so like Bouge, and everything was through Design Center. And so Megaphone was always there. It just wasn't the top tool that everyone was using. It was specified for creating online advertising. And so within the past couple months, they took Design Center and pushed it into Megaphone, just creating one spot for everything. And what that does is it's integrated the features so that you can post or have Megaphone post for you through their website and not like directly to your social media. I know a lot of people were trying to post like to their Facebook page through Bright, or even other apps. And so now that they kind of integrated that to be able to design everything in the same spot that you can run your ads from, that you can post from on social media, just putting it all in an easy spot to get. And so one of the biggest questions I always get is, where do my listing packages go? And so they're in Megaphone still. You just click on your property address that's listed, and if you scroll down, they're still creating those entire listing packages for you. They've added tons of new content as far as creating your own ads, being able to run ads without having a listing, and then just a lot of even like fun, videos and tons of new design stuff that Design Center essentially didn't have. So it's been a good merge, in my opinion.
2 questions. Mark Hall mentioned every time an ad is posted on Homesnap via Megaphone, it charges me. Am I supposed to get a week free?
Yes. So that is so with the new Megaphone kind of taking over Design Center automation type things, that's going to be something that we can link up together and discuss, Mark. But that's your settings. So everybody automatically gets a week free, and then anything farther than that, you have basically, or the system has automated that you would pay to extend it past that week. Or if you have your settings set that you're targeting more people than what they're giving you for free, it will charge you. Honestly, in this market, I mean, you probably don't need more than a week. of advertising, but if you need it, it's definitely out there, and you can always extend it and pay for it. But I definitely wouldn't have the settings auto set up to just run ads
Right.
when they're giving it to you for free.
Definitely reach out to Megan, Mark, and Karen. Looks like Len, you already went and did that. So that's getting into those settings is important. Yeah.
Absolutely. All right. Any other questions?
So yeah, Mark asked about settings. Is it Megaphone or Homesnap that he's getting into in regards to those settings?
So it's going to be Megaphone, and your settings in Megaphone is going to allow you to set up the automatic, whether it's automatically running ads. And the point of that is that it's like, again, connected with MLS. It's trying to make it as easy as possible. So you can set it up so it's automatically posting for you as soon as an ad, or I'm sorry, as soon as a listing goes active. And then it automatically is starting that ad and doing all that for you. But if the settings are off, it can be charging you. And that could be from using Megaphone and running ads prior to the integration of them automatically posting stuff. But for the most part, everyone's settings should be not charging them. Going in and playing around with this stuff is not going to just make you start paying for running ads. But we can definitely set up one-on-ones and go over how to make sure that those are properly set up so you're not getting charged.
So Ricky, if I were to ask you what's the one thing everybody on here should kind of take away, what's the best piece of Homesnap, what would you say?
I think the proximity to the data that we hold so near and dear to our value, I would say just the thinking about Homesnap as your closest link to Bright MLS when you're out there in the field is probably going to encourage you or motivate you to use it more than anything else. And even if you were just using it to schedule and to pull up listings and to save yourself a little bit of time each day, I think right there it would have a ton of value. The pro version of apps might not fit your business plan, or you might not be open to exploring that, which I think is totally fine. But I would just think to myself, especially in today's day and age, time equals money, so if you can save yourself some time by clearing the decks when you're in the car and using this to research additional homes, schedule additional homes, and just have all of that right there for you without having to get on the actual computer to do it. Even just using that would have a ton of value.
Nice. Does anybody have any questions about this kind of stuff? I know it was a lot of information, and we're always available, set up some one-on-ones if we have specifics with Megan, and she can kind of walk through point and click every little piece of it. Not a single question. Everybody in here is gifted and talented. I see it. I feel it. Even John, I see him. He's smiling back there. He's the most gifted and talented. Love to see it. Let's see. There is a free week amount in the first week. Yes.
Yeah, this is Joe. Can you hear me? Joe Wathen?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so I was looking at the website, just sign up for the Pro for 99 because, yeah, I've been looking into this for like the last 30 days. But it says something about websites. But does it have like your own like template websites on their site, or can we use our Remax site?
So it does automatically create you another website. I haven't seen where you can change that.
Is that like the profile?
Yeah, so it creates another website. Again, if you clear all your settings and Google yourself, if your Remax website is published and live, that's what's going to come up first. This is just kind of adding another, like it's like a profile, but they do make it into a website. And then I don't know if Ricky has anything to add to that.
Yeah, I was going to say I would focus on the Remax website because it's already working. And we can already see for the people who have it set up, it's returning so high in the search result. If you're already at number 1 or number 2, what would the point of having a different website be? I think you have to logically think about that, like break it down. What additional use would there even be if you're up there and you have something that looks great and shows your listings, etc. And I mean, I don't even know if people go to websites anymore, to be honest, unless they come up high in the results. We talked about this at R4 the last 2 years. I didn't go this past year, but it was on the last 2 years, and at the Remax collection, the luxury conference, we talked about it a good amount. If you're selling a really specific type of inventory or property, and that's like directly related to your brand, like you only are going to work on, these $5 million or $10 million estates, like Jordan Cohen or whatever, then yeah, you probably need a specific website just for that you need to pay someone to design. But for the rest of us who are sort of dealing in multiple inventory types, and we're sort of focused on our network and our sphere of influence, I would say, have the Remax one set up, but it's really about, of course, social media. It's about your Facebook or your Instagram. That's really where your clients and the people that you know and care about are going to find out what you're doing. So I think Remax alone, I think what Remax is providing is enough. And I don't think the Homesnap one happens automatically. I think you have to set it up through there. But again, I sort of have like a filter on my mind where I'm just like, I can only decide and think about so many things every single day. So if I have a solution in place for something that's working really well, it's not in my nature to immediately start thinking about recalibrating it. I would highly encourage everybody to try those Boosh sites. Hit up Megan to get them set up. Like Yanni said, we were all eagerly awaiting it, and it sort of dragged on with the rollout. But at this point, my understanding is they work perfectly fine and they look really good. So I would take what you're already paying for through Remax and make the most out of that for sure.
It makes it much easier to have one profile as well.
Yeah.
One place to update headshots, one place to have your bio. They pull the inventory straight out. They have all of your awards and designations listed out. They look sharp, really clean, modern look. So, and as Ricky said, the big thing is you have that's always kind of been confirmation that you are who you say you are, and that you're legit in this industry. But the way that you're going to be able to continue to build your client base is building relationships, and social media is an amazing piece for that. Using the video is huge. Did anybody see the video I posted this morning on the internal Facebook? One person. All right, hell yeah. Is that, yeah, that, so it just shows that the video, it allows you to have your personality and all that kind of stuff. And that's what people want to see. They want to see the real you. Everybody can post a picture of a nice living room, or a updated kitchen and say, isn't this nice? But that's not going to get any engagement, interaction. People want to see you. They want to experience you. And that's what you have unique. Everybody on here, let me see. Yeah, everybody on here has a very unique and fun, interesting personality. I was making sure I didn't see, and it checks out for sure.
Were you going to call someone out if they didn't?
Yes, absolutely. But it was literally impossible to do so. But there's some people that don't have video on, so I don't know. Miss Gina has probably one of the most interesting. You need to get out there on video, Miss Gina. I want to see it. I want to see your face. I want to see you out there. Does anybody else have any questions or comments or ideas, or want to talk about what they're doing for dinner this evening or anything like that? Miss Chris, your hair, it looks fabulous. Santafonte, I think it looks very nice. Yeah,
it does.
To the side. Looks good. All right, well, thank you all so much for joining us this morning. Ricky, thanks so much for hopping on here. It was a lot of fun to
yeah,
have you.
Man, my pleasure. Anytime.
Yeah, thank you, Ricky.
Thank you.
Everybody have a great rest of the week, okay? Go out there and crush it. See ya.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.